buy a pass to go up to their pool and lounge around their pool and pretend that you have money. The Van Zant's the same thing. It's named after Townes Van Zandt, the famous songwriter. His other claim, or Texas' claim to fame, is that his great-grandfather was the first and last comptroller of this Republic of Texas. Now this tall condo building that's in front of us with the white orb at the, I would think it's probably about the 10th from the top. Those are the penthouses above that. And one penthouse with 4 bedrooms is $17.6 million. The cheapest you can get one of the condos over here is probably about $2.5 million. So right here, if you look straight down the river, this is the start of the 10,000 meter scull race, or the sculling race, the rowing race that the University of Texas does here. The Austin Rowing Club, the Texas Rowing Club, the Capital Rowing Club, they're all located in and around the lake. This is the Austin Rowing Club's paddock over here. There's also a small cafe in that building. So if you walk around this lake, and there's 11 miles to walk, you'll be able to stop at a couple of places and have some beverages. Now you'll notice these like little white birds that are over here. Not only do we have bats on this river, we have cranes, we have herons. Hopefully my buddy Lonesome George will be on the bridge when we go back. He's been showing up all year since February. He is a juvenile. But these are snow egrets. And they used to live in the Midwest, where they would live all the time. But this colony has decided to come down here, and I would imagine they have no regrets about their decision. They're coming in for their little landing here. So if you're an angler, Austin is a great place. This is a great place to come fishing. The state record for the largest smallmouth bass, 35 pounds. The record for the white carp, 65 pounds. And the largest bluegill or sunfish was pulled out of here at a state record whopping 7.5 pounds. For a perch, that's a big perch, folks. So I'm going to flip around over here, and you can get one of the best pictures, a postcard picture of the city of Austin. Hashtag Skyline, hashtag ATX, hashtag Captain Toby. Here's a few little bats right behind our boat that are struggling with the wind. They might be new to flying, because this is also the time that they fledge. But they also give birth at this time too, and so the mama bats, like I said, will leave babies in the creche while they go out hunting. And Auntie keeps a pretty good eye on them, making sure they don't get into trouble, making sure that no male bats will come into the creche and commit infanticide. Now they only live about 4 years, so they only have one pup a year. So when we go under the bridge, I've got a special light that I want you to be able to see the bats inside the actual bridge itself. The ones that are there are either nursing or pregnant and don't want to risk getting hurt. So they'll stay in and they'll hunt in and around this area. It's also the time that some of the mamas are giving birth too, because they'll be here until September. And some of the later bats that are born, most of the bats that are born will be males. And the reason why is because if you ask any woman who's had a baby, they can tell you if they were at a certain temperature, they can guarantee you'd have a baby. And the same thing goes true for these bats. He's really struggling, isn't he? Aw. Makes me kind of sad. Here comes another little small column. And they're right above the tree line. You can see how they're being pushed around. Now they will constantly move their wings because unlike a bird, they do not have a natural airfoil built in. They actually have what's called a rhomboid. Now you'll notice we're the only ones over here, folks. And that is because I want you to see as many bats as you can, because my goal that you see 950,000. That's how big this colony is. I'm in semi-retirement, so this is what I do 3 nights out of the week, and I never get tired of it. Ever. Now, if you want to see more bats, you can go to Bracken, Texas, at Bracken Cave, where an estimated 20 million come out.
This one is what, 1 million?
1 million bats. And they came up with that number because the bridge is 1,500 feet long, by 18 inches deep, by 2 inches wide. You do the math, and you come up with about 950,000. Now, it will not get much bigger than 1 million, and that is because it will not contain 1 million. So what happens at the end of the season is some of these bats are kicked out prior to the migration back to Mexico. And those bats will go off into other places to find and make up a new colony.
Do they come back here?
They will come back. The question is, do they come back? Yes, they do. They will all be back. Not quite like this in show. They will come back before sunrise. Now it's amazing. It's no wonder that kids love bats, because they stay up all night and they sleep all day, and they're in the shape of a nugget. And here's another one right over our heads. Also tonight is Wednesday. Here is a sedge of blue herons, so I would suggest that you go buy a lottery ticket, because you're considered lucky to see them. They will also snack on these little guys when they fall into the water. Or they'll fly through the column and find one on the wing. Looking to see if there's any more murmurations around. I just see some of the cleaner bats. They'll go in and scrape the poop off of the side using their thumbs. Now when mama bat gives birth, she gives birth hanging from her feet and one thumb, and holds out a wing just in case Junior pops out a little fast. And if that happens and she drops him, that baby will bungee jump back up because the umbilical cord will be attached for up to 10 days. So it gives the new pup the ability to figure out how to cling on to mom like a possum. So I'm going to try to align myself here so I can catch this wind.
Oh my God, who's driving the boat?
So this light that I have will not harm them. It is a red colored light. They do not see that spectrum. They only see white light, and it does disturb them. So I'm going to come down the road, and I'm going to show each section. So just look up into these cracks and you will see them. That my big butt getting your way there. Now you'll notice that everybody's hightailing it back to their dock because they don't want to pay that extra $30 for that hour. So I'm hoping that on our return back under the dock or under the bridge, you'll be able to meet my buddy Solo Jorge, or Lonesome George. Like I said, he's a yellow-crested night heron juvenile that's been hanging out over here. And so if we do see him, I want you all to say, "Hey, George." Because if not, he'll tell me when he comes to the dock. Yeah, those people were rude. They didn't say nothing to me. I'm up here looking all majestic and everything. And then he tells me, I bet you they laughed at that egret joke, right? I bet they did, didn't they? They did. So he's usually camped out on the other side of this column. And like I said, he'll wait for a snack. Now you might see one. Oh, I see a bat on the actual column over here climbing up. If you look. there. He's tiny, tiny. He's right above that little bit of graffiti there. And there might be another one on the wall somewhere. Let's see where Jorge is. There he is. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Hi, Jorge.
Hi, George.
Hey, George.
He's been doing that all year, folks. He's been up here since February. No other birds, no other herons do that. It's just him.
Yeah.
Yep. And he'll probably try to crawl back up. Yep, there he is, crawling back up. Now, if one of the mamas happens to fall like that and doesn't make it up onto a column, she will get eaten. And if she does get eaten, unfortunately, the pup also perishes because they do not have that type of society or type of thing built into their society or their colony. They do not and cannot afford to adopt another one. So I'm also going to direct, if you look over at the top, you'll see that the beacon is on. And by the time we get back to the dock, the beacon will most likely be off. But Austin, when I said that it was called Silicon Hills, part of the reason is because of all the tech businesses here in Austin. And Silicon Labs was one of the first ones. Does anybody know what they produce? No, who said breast implants? No. For your information, the boobs are located in the center building, and that's called City Hall. Silicon Labs is a consortium, so the signal is blinking and it's going on and off. They actually produce several different chips for different manufacturers of computers and laptops. They were the first ones to take a gamble on Austin because every building you see from the Crayon building over is less than 15 years old. All of these buildings. And so when they built this, they said, hey, Austin, we know you're going to build a new city hall. So why don't we go ahead and build 2 buildings? Because the first rule in contracting is why have 1 building at the regular price when you can have 2 at twice the price. So they allowed the city of Austin to move into one of their buildings while they were building the new city hall. It was a win-win situation, and the city ended up giving them $35 million in tax incentives. Yeah, it's great. So we're going to go steam up river. Now this is the Drake Bridge. We love the artist so much that we named a bridge after him. Because it's uninspiring and kind of simple. Kind of like his music. But this was actually built in 1955 to alleviate traffic, if you can imagine, in 1955. Now people say, well, why don't the bats come under this bridge? Well, it's too open. It's too close to the water. It has way too many places for things to hide out. And also, it echoes. Like I said, they do not like loud noise. Now, if you look in front of us, you'll see some of these bats that are hunting over here. And they'll be doing this most of the night. And then they'll go back and do their duties of cleaning poop and watching babies. But this small little island that's right off of our bow is the original location of Waterloo. That was the other name I would have accepted for Austin. It was named Waterloo because at the same time that European settlers were coming over here, the actual real Napoleon was being deposed and sent to Elba. So they named it in his honor because it was their last stand. And that is because this area was frequented by the Comanche, the Tonkawa, the Karankawa, the Caddo, the Lipan Apache, the Comanche. But they didn't fight with each other while they were here because there was plenty of food, plenty of fresh water, and so everybody stayed at their respective creeks, because there are 9 different creeks that empty into this river that are spring fed. Because Austin, or Central Texas, is one of the largest areas that has underground water. The Agala Aquifer, the Edwards Aquifer, and the Permian Aquifer. So also you'll look over here on your starboard side or your right side, you'll see the world's largest IKEA soap dish. Now that's actually their swimming pool. It's a really nice swimming pool. I've snuck into it a couple of times. But then you'll notice this building behind it with the big G. G, I wonder what that stands for. When Google came into Austin, they wanted to build their own building. They offered to buy that building from them, but the owner said, no, we'll give you 5 floors. So Google wasn't satisfied with that. They wanted more, and they said no, no, no. So basically Google did the only thing they could do at the time, which is to buy 4 square blocks, catty corner to their building that they were in, and they built what we call the Spinnaker building, which is this giant building here with the point at the top. I like to call it Google 180 because it now blocks 180 degrees of their view of the hill country. So case in point is don't mess with Google. But also, if you look at it, there's Google giving the finger to their other tenant, because we call that building in the back, which is the Austin 360, we call it the finger building for obvious reasons. So being on the water right now, you wouldn't think it was 107 today, would you?